The trail is a metaphor for change. Although hiking, and specifically endurance hiking, is now a big part of my day-to-day, it's not just about exercise. It's about transformation. Each step is a movement towards clarity, purpose, and identity. But movement is one thing, sharing insights gained is another. As a U.S. Marine veteran, I created this space to help other veterans gain clarity, purpose, and identity. Let's walk this path together. This is Trail to Transformation.
Most people aren't broken, they're just dysregulated. Chronic stress, pain, anxiety, and burnout aren't mindset failures. They're nervous systems stuck in survival. I'm Leland Holgate, combat veteran and neuroscientist, and I created the Welcome Home method to help people rewire their nervous systems with breath. To go deeper, visit thewillfulwarrior.com.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Of course, you know me. My name is Dr. Keith McNally. I want to welcome my guests, Sheyenne and Don. Welcome to the TV show.
Thank you for having us.
I appreciate that. So let's go ahead and begin with telling our audience who you are, and I'm going to give some backstory to how we met. Please.
Goodness, it seems like a long time ago since we met, but a lot of what we're doing today, and you and I, we all got together a couple of years ago here in North Carolina, and we were very heavily involved in a big suicide prevention event that we're grateful that you were a part of. You did a great job emceeing it. And we're still working in that arena. We're reaching out to both veterans and young people who are, struggling with today's environment. They say there's a lot of young people these days who feel like they have symptoms of PTSD, even though they never were on a traditional battlefield, should we say. So we're pulling together a lot of different healing components, and you're actually executive director now of a nonprofit.
Yeah. The Hope Institute.
Absolutely.
In which Rick May was the founder. But I've taken over because I guess he was just too busy.
Well, and illness.
And illness, yes. He was under the weather a while.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I stepped up, took over as a director.
Absolutely.
Well, I appreciate all that. And that stole my thunder. That's exactly what I wanted to talk about was, so it's 2026, and back in 2024, we actually did something incredible. So when Rick was still running the nonprofit, We Care Partnerships, and my Envision Speaker Series collaborated on a very specific event called Spark. And forgive me, I forget what the acronym stood for. Can you kind of give me a refresher?
I'm sitting here going, okay, do I remember all the letters right now? S was for suicide prevention. P was for promoting open conversation about this topic. A was addressing societal issues. R was rejuvenating body, mind, and spirit. And K was kindness to all.
I appreciate that. And so what we did was we collaborated our efforts because the Envision Speakers at the time was, for me, so about social change.
Right.
And I facilitated, and I like to say orchestrated, because there was more than just one or two panel members. We were at a church, and there was at least 7 plus myself panel members that we did a 2-hour live stream suicide awareness, suicide prevention discussion. And I'm not sure if we could do that on E360 TV where this conversation will get. aired first, but on my YouTube channel. Do you still have it live or live? Do you still have it on your Facebook channel?
Well, unfortunately, Facebook has changed their policy, so now that anything that was streamed live gets taken down after 30 days. So the
Oh,
live is gone, but it's still on my YouTube channel, and I think it's on yours, and I believe Martin Brossman put it on his as well. He was one of the speakers.
okay. I'm gonna have to remember to take it from my YouTube and or your YouTube and put it on this YouTube channel because it also I've got a new YouTube channel.
Ah.
I will see you on the trail. So the motto at the end of this conversation. But that's enough of that. But I do want to get back to that because I want to do it again because I now have a foundation
All right.
throughout a transformation, and I believe I could raise money to kind of make that an even bigger event. And so it's part of the foundation's pillars, community engagement. But we'll have a talk about that at another time. Let's dive into what you guys are doing now. So where do you want to start?
Well, we just did an online event that we called the Peace Forge, because one of the things that we recognized was there's still a lot of people who are afraid to really come up front and talk about the issue of suicide. Unfortunately, we all know that the silence just makes things worse, but a lot of people, they have guilt, they have shame, they feel like they'll be judged in some way, shape, or form, and so they do not want to face it. So the online event we did was, and in fact, we still use the word spark. We called it Peace Forge, igniting sparks of peace to co-create a better world. So a big piece of what we were doing with that was helping people understand that we can find peace within. And if we want to see peace in the world, we've got to find peace within first. So that was our most recent thing. And we're very involved in a lot of different kinds of products and services as well. I mean, being part of the Spark event, we had a lot of what I would call non-traditional folks who were at that event trying to educate people about things that can be used as an adjunct, used in conjunction with traditional Western medicine to try to help. And some of that is your story because nutrition is really important for brain health, and you found out how powerful nutrition was, right?
Oh, yes. You got to have all your nutrition. Most people don't realize they're not getting even close to the nutrition they need.
Nope.
A lot of people, they go to store, get vitamins, a little bit of minerals. They don't realize you got to have 60 minerals in your body every day. People are not getting it, and they wonder why they're not up to 100%.
So, Don, you've got a story behind that. Can you share some of that? Like
Oh,
how
about
you figured all this out?
well, how I was trained. Well, I had a hip problem, and actually the VA in Durham replaced my hip. Did a great job, but I still had pain, a lot of pain. And a good friend of Cheyenne's who lived in Dallas come to visit us, and he worked on me and he taught me about nutrition. Vitamins don't work without minerals, and you have to have, like I say, about 60 minerals every day. Because some minerals work with other minerals. Vitamins work with minerals. Vitamins don't work without minerals. That's what propels them to work. And by taking nutrition and listening to the gentleman from Dallas, I learned a lot. And next thing you know, I was up, walking, no limp. The VA wanted to replace my other hip and my two knees. I have not had it done, and I'm still out here walking 4 or 5 miles every day
Without pain.
without pain. Yeah, her chasing me, no.
Well,
So,
I'm going to ask you if you want to do a mile or two on the Appalachian Trail next year, but that within your scope?
well, believe it or not, I haven't hiked the whole thing, but I probably did a lot of miles on it over time. And
Well,
it's
I'm
one of
going
the
to.
things you can do is you don't have to hike it all one time.
That's
Go
true.
so far, take your break, and come back. Just remember where you stopped. There's a lot of people don't hike it straight through. It may take 2 3 years.
True.
But to actually receive credit for a through hike, which is an actual certification, you got to do it within 12 months. So that's still my goal.
Okay.
Well, I don't worry about certification. I could say I've hiked quite a bit of it, but not the whole thing.
So when talking about nutrition and trying to stay healthy or staying healthy, what's the balance and how does that really work? Can you give us some insights on not only your recovery, but recovery in general and for general health?
Go ahead.
We really are taking kind of a three-pronged approach right now to working with people. And again, a huge part of my interest, because you may remember I've lost three friends to suicide, and one of them was back in high school. So it hit me hard as a teenager, and it's been something I've been concerned about forever and ever. So we've got kind of a three-pronged approach that we're working with, because the nutrition is definitely part of it. The naturopathic physician that we've partnered with was almost sent to an institution when he was 9 years old, because nobody thought he was going to be able to be functional in society. And it was only because he went and ate a bunch of alfalfa pellets out of his barn, which were loaded with minerals, that within just a few days, all of a sudden, he had a complete transformation of his personality, and they canceled him going to the institution. So we know that brain health can be heavily affected by minerals, and especially lack of minerals. So that's one piece of it. We're also working heavily now with, nutrition that can help to recharge at the cellular level. Our cells are getting beat up all the time because of all the toxins that we're exposed to, and all the cell phone towers and the Wi-Fi and all that kind of stuff. Our cells are getting just beat to heck. And so having something that helps to recharge those cells are a really important part too. And then the third piece of it for us has been to really learn more about, I'm going to call it the energy of healing.
Yes.
We actually have started partnering with a gentleman who is actually a retired NASA rocket scientist, literally. And he also he's also an Army veteran. And he created a device, it's called a PEMF device, that is much lower cost than anything else on the market. And he's had some incredible successes helping people to be able to calm their PTSD symptoms by just wearing this device around their neck for 2.5 hours at a time. So we've got kind of this three-pronged approach, and we're very excited because we're seeing incredible things. I just had a gal who is using that device, and she was having what I would expect was PTSD symptoms. I've never had it myself, so I can't say for sure, but she had just dealt with a boyfriend who had taken his own life, and she already had had some emotional instability going on. And I got a text message from her the other day that just blew my mind. She's in a totally different space. So that kind of stuff gets us excited, being able to help folks.
I love that. I am diagnosed with PTSD, and I've got some other mental illness or diagnoses. I'll just call it that for right now. Psychosis, and of course, I've made 5 attempts against my own life. Being able to manage all of that, at least for me, on a daily, regular basis, requires a whole lot of effort, energy, and intention. And I know one of the things, and I'm going to go back to 2021. I know, that was the global COVID pandemic, and then in quarantine, but it was also my 5th suicide attempt in 2021. And my first thought about, once I was not dead anymore, was I needed to make real connections with people. And I started reaching out, basically strangers on LinkedIn, saying, would you like to have a conversation? Through all of those conversations, we eventually met. And all those things that you are doing, where does the peer, the community piece kind of fit into wellness, wholeness, well-being?
Goodness. Well, a lot of that actually goes back to the big vision for the Hope Institute. And the reason we're here in Raleigh right now is we're hoping we may be putting together the puzzle pieces to be able to create what the founder would have called a hope community. Because that's the biggie. We actually want to be able to purchase a campground and be able to do some of this as well. But our whole thing is we want to be able to house people for 6 to 24 months, be able to provide healing in kind of this three-pronged approach we were just describing, and then also, in a collaborative environment, also be able to help retrain people, whether it's entrepreneurial experiences or whether it's something in the trades. We want to help people be able to use their hands and get creative and be able to use their brains and minds in a creative kind of way. So that's the biggie, and we're hoping that if we can pull all this together here in Raleigh, that we may be able to go on back to Florida and do something similar with a campground.
So where are you in terms of what do you need for that to happen? Because maybe somebody in the audience is from North Carolina and watching and saying, "Hey, Sheyenne, Don, I could help you." So what are you
Hey.
looking for? What do you need?
Most important thing is
Money.
money.
We've been scouting around for quite a while now, looking for properties that could be something that would allow us to start this kind of effort. And incredibly enough, and this is just a recent development, since we've been here in Raleigh, we've identified 3 or 4 people who are actually willing to step into the arena of being what I would call a social impact investor. Lots of investors are in, they want a quick turn, they want a quick return.
Might want to say that again. Social
Social impact investors. Yeah, that's a biggie. So we know that it's possible to take and build a community like this that could also give a return to investors, which ideally would help us to, not be at the mercy of grant writers, not be at the mercy of, just finding philanthropists, although we love them all. We'll take them.
They're welcome.
They are welcome. But if we can find a group of social impact investors, that would be awesome. Because there are some properties around that could be utilized for the things we're talking about, but boy, the prices in the Raleigh area have gone sky high. Oh my goodness.
Well, you talked about being in North Carolina, and you also talked about going back to Florida. So what does that mean? So are you in both places at the same time, or are you trying to build parallel systems in the 2 states, or what's up with that?
Don just said we teleport. Not quite, but Well, we are Florida residents. So even though we're full-time RVers, this is our house on wheels. We are residents of Florida. We do want to have a campground in Florida that becomes kind of a home base for everything that we're doing. But ideally, we're hoping to find a way to build these communities across the country, because we know the need is huge. And we want to help more veterans for sure. So, right now we're here as helping to recruit a team, helping to bring them together, helping to go out and recruit new resources that could help this team be able to build a community here, whether we're physically here or not.
And I think one of the things you mentioned earlier was helping veterans be creative, and I think also productive, because sometimes that's really challenging, especially veterans with mental health diagnoses. And when you come to the point where things feel helpless, and you feel all alone, all of that other stuff kind of goes out the window. So allowing veterans the opportunity to work, learn trades, learn job skills, and all of those things really does add value, purpose, mission back to the individual life, but also the family. And of course, it builds the community that they live in, because financial if I'm financially able to do so, I'm buying into local markets, and that's really important. Um, as we move towards the tail end of this conversation, you built the very foundation of what we talk about community through We Care partnerships. Can you talk a little bit about what We Care partnerships is all about and how that works?
Sure. We Care is really designed to be a way to bring together the small business community to get more engaged in helping to solve problems in the community. And there's lots of ways that can be done. In fact, you want to mention the Spark account that we're getting ready to rebuild?
Oh yes, that's remember this. Well, you know about the Spark. Well, we have an account, and we're hoping to be putting money. We will. We won't hope. We will be putting money in there to help others who cannot afford these other treatments that not, I guess, normal as a medical
Insurance, yeah.
insurance won't pay for it.
Right.
We'll be able to help them get this or these treatments that will help them a great deal.
Absolutely. And so that's part of what we're working on right now here is, I've reached out to a lot of wellness professionals that I know they have the ability to provide some of these, I will call them adjunct or complementary services to traditional mental health kinds of services. And I've asked them for help to start to rebuild this fund because we did help some people as a result of the Spark event. And that is a separate account under the Hope Institute. And I'm feeling strongly it's time to rebuild that account, make it bigger, make it better. And the people who are in the wellness profession, they are typically We Care members. We're bringing them together and saying, you guys can help us to rebuild this account because they're folks that we would love to be able to pay them when they find somebody who can't afford their services.
Who is a We Care member? What kind of people are you looking for? Because they may want to join you.
We do a lot with wellness professionals of all kinds. Typically they would be called people who would be involved in integrative medicine. That's the term that we like to use. So it's about taking complementary alternative things and marrying them with more traditional.
Right. It's like Duke University does that a lot.
Yep, they
A
talk
lot of
about
people do not
integrate.
understand that. Duke does understand it. They just don't take your traditional medical. They look at alternative ways also.
Absolutely. So those are a lot of the folks, but like the Peace Summit we just did, we had a lot of different people. A lot of them were wellness people, but like we had a gal from Colorado who she actually does something. She created a program called Evolve, and she brings families together to learn how to communicate together and create peace within the family. So basically, we say we look for people who can promote wellness, promote peace, and promote prosperity because we're huge about all about entrepreneurship. So anybody who's involved in helping either providing opportunities or helping to teach people about how they can have their own business, those are the folks that we look for We Care.
We've got about a minute left in our conversation. Anything gold that you can offer a veteran today, or an ask, whatever the ask may be, you've got a minute.
Anybody's interested.
We have a big audience.
Any thoughts?
Anybody who's interested in joining us.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Join
we
us.
can be found all over Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, you name it. I mean, we invite, if there's veterans out there that would like to be considered as recipients for the Spark Fund, we have a form for people to fill out. We interview people. That's definitely something that we can help out with right away. And, it's just really about understanding one real core thing that really ties together everything we're doing. We personally believe we were made in the image and likeness of a creator. And it has been proven that the human brain is happiest when it's in a creation process.
Ooh,
So that's a biggie, and that's why we love entrepreneurship and the trade so much. It's all about creating.
I love it, and I love that. I love that analogy. I want to thank you both for joining me in conversation. I'm going to thank the audience for joining us once again on Trail to Transformation. And as always, I will see you on the trail.
Thank you for watching Trail to Transformation TV. To support these conversations or to support the foundation, I would ask that you go to givebutter.com/T3missionorg. That's the letter T, the number 3, MISSIONORG. Or go directly to our website at t3mission.org and click the donate button. Or just scan the QR code as you see it on the screen. And as always, I will see you on the trail.